Okay, so I had an incident that happened this Friday night at my son's basketball game. He plays for a 6A district here in Texas, and I'm not new to the sports world. They've played basketball and baseball since they were little, so I'm sure I've been to thousands of games throughout the last 10 years. And what I experienced this weekend just really didn't sit well with me. And, as a mental health professional, I'm a nurse practitioner, and then I also work as a registered nurse at a adolescent inpatient facility. So I see a lot of how interactions can affect youth. And so it's something that's really close to me, and this happened to my son, so that adds an extra layer of emotion. So that's kind of why I want to say something and see other people's thoughts, if they've ever dealt with anything like this. And I really think there needs to be some kind of change. I just don't know where to start with it, because I just haven't got the response for this to fix the situation as I wanted to. I'm still feeling angry. I don't get angry easily. I'm not confrontational, so this was a lot for me. So that's where I am right now. So just like I teach my kids at work, anger is normal. Anger can be good. We get angry for a reason. It's just what we do with it. So I'm trying to get that anger and use it constructively today. And I just want to hear your thoughts, and I'll kind of let you know what happened, and any constructive thoughts, they can be negative or positive. Just I would like to have some insight and help with the situation. So, I get yelling at kids. This is not new to me. The coaches yell a lot, and it's constructive. That's their job, to help kids get better. There's all different kinds of coaches. Some are very verbal, some aren't. And it's just kind of the thing that we deal with in the sports world. And I do feel like, I've seen coaches get kicked out of games. I've seen players get kicked out of games for bad conduct with each other. So I think for the most part, there's still problems with that, but I feel for the most part, that's usually handled. So what happened this weekend is, it's a part of the sports, like parents yell at refs, which isn't okay either. I am a big advocate of the parent's job is to be there for support and cheer on the kids. We're not there to coach. We're not to tell the coaches how to do their jobs, or the refs. If there's a real problem, we can talk to it at a separate time. But our kids need our support. Well, my son plays basketball. Both of them do. He's a senior in high school, and his dad, my ex-husband, does one of those that likes to voice his opinions. So we were at the game. We were at a gym where the bench was pretty close to us. It was just kind of like there was nothing between us and the bench. And my husband was saying things. My ex-husband was saying things. And the coach turned around and said, well, your son can't play. And, my son was out there on the court at this time, and I was like, did he just say that? Did he just say my son can't play? And I kind of was in shock, but I was like, that's probably not what he said. And then I heard his dad say, don't ever talk about my son again. I'm like, okay, that is what he said. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to talk to somebody about this. This is not okay. Well, at that point, the coach turned back around again and said, your son's only 5'2". He can't play. And at that point, I think I just saw red. I didn't know. I wanted it to stop. I didn't want my son to hear it. He is on the shorter side for a basketball player. He's 5'9", so he looks short, because everyone's very tall in the basketball world. Most people are. So I didn't want him to hear that. And so I went down to try to kind of get a ref's attention. In hindsight, I probably should have found the administrator, but I was just like, I want it to stop. So I go down, and this is not my personality at all. I'm like sitting there quietly cheering on, and I make eye contact with that coach, and I say, that needs to stop. Like, you can't talk about my son like that. Like, this is crazy. And he turns back around. He said, I'm sick of him talking about his dad. I'm used to him being at these games. My other son played as well. And I said, I get that. Me too. And so he turns back around, and I'm like, okay, he hasn't got my point yet. And so I said, I just want it to stop. And he turns back around, and he kind of gives me that look like I've kind of messed up, and I feel like it probably would have stopped right there. Well, the assistant coach gets in my face and says, you need to get the F away from the bench. And then so my husband saw that, and he's not confrontational either, and came up and was like, please don't get in my wife's face. Like, you need to back up. And then it just kind of went downhill from then. No one got hit. Nothing got aggressive, but we got asked to be removed from the game. The cop was awesome. He was just like, they're fine. But since the coach asked us to leave, then we had to leave, but they ended up letting us back in because we explained to their administrator what happened, and he was like, y'all can come back in, just don't sit behind the bench. Well, I didn't want to go back in. I was already kind of emotional at that time, and so I just was watching from the door. So I'm upset, but this isn't like what I was mostly upset about. So what happened after that is she said she was the athletic director, the assistant athletic director. She comes in and says to the administrator, why did you let them back in? When they look at the film, you're going to be in big trouble. And that lady approached the bench, and I was like, well, I'm that lady. And so, because I wanted to like explain to her what happened, and her response, and I'm still so upset, is, well, then your son needs to toughen up. That was her response to me. She's supposed to be an administrator, the assistant athletic coordinator. Your son needs to toughen up. And I'm like, my son wasn't even in this. I just didn't want him to hear it. Nobody needs to hear that. And she said, you're just upset because it's your son. Well, of course I'm upset because it's my son, but if it was anyone else on our team, I would be upset as well. And I'm upset at the point for any kid that ever hears from this coach now or in the future, or any coach that acts like this. Like, it was overwhelming to me, and I'm just like still in shock. So it just added another layer that this is just okay in your school. Like, this is the thought, like, it's athletics, so it's okay. And so then I was talking to their administrator, which was like a vice principal, and I was telling him what he said, and his response, I mean, he was very nice, but his response was, oh, she's just coming from a coach's perspective. And I'm like, that's not a coach's perspective, right? Like, it shouldn't be. I understand sports and the importance of like getting in there, but like, what? I don't know. I would like to hear your thoughts. I just think that, coaches and athletic administrators, it's someone that these athletes look up to. And I think people don't realize, because they seem tough and they're told to be tough, that they can have mental health issues going on too. Like, and I think coaches are very important for that. Kind of like, you hear hairdressers get trained in mental health stuff because sometimes they're the ones that hear things first, like especially like if they're in an abusive relationship or something. A lot of people tell their hairdressers when they're sitting there, so they get trained. And I feel like coaches are kind of the same. Like, some of these kids come from all kinds of backgrounds, like, and sometimes their coaches are like their role models, maybe the most steady person in their life. And I just think they're taking for granted how important their conduct is. And I'm just really sad about the whole situation. So I did send some emails that night when I got home. Not in a like, I want someone to get in trouble kind of email. I was like, I want change. Like, this is not okay. Like, is this how it is? So I sent an email to their school and then kind of let our athletic coordinator principal know what happened as well. So I did get a phone call from our athletic coordinator, which I really like, but I just really am not still not sitting well with me, like the responses I got. He said he talked to their coordinator and they are going to talk to the basketball coaches about professionalism, and that's kind of where it ended. And I was like, well, I'm really upset with the assistant athletic coordinator that told me, like, it was just a sense like, it's not a big deal, your son needs to toughen up. I was like, that's what's really bothering me still. That coach I kind of already knew was a jerk. And yeah, that definitely needs to be handled, but it's just like this whole mentality is what's really bothering me. And he was just like, well, from an administrative standpoint, I always back my coaches. So I get it. What she said was not okay, but I get like backing your coaches. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm in the nursing profession, but you know, the patient's always right. Like, and not that they don't support the nurses. It's like we as nurses too want our patients to have good care and be treated properly. Is that not for them too? Like, yeah, like I would never go to a patient and be like, well, she didn't mean to do that. Like, I'm so sorry this happened. Let me figure out what's going on. You know, like, and even like the customer is always right. You hear that all the time. Like in the mentality is we want to have a good product. We want to give good health care. Do they not want to keep like, do you not want to take care of these kids? Or, I mean, sports aren't about winning all the time. Yeah, we love to win. And on a side night, we won that night. Anyways, I really just want to hear your thoughts of, you know, if anyone's ever experienced this or hasn't experienced this and always have a good thing, or like if you're a coach, I would love to hear your side of it. Mental health people, help me, like, what am I being too upset about this over nothing? Like, and what can we do? Do I go to UIL? What on a mental health standpoint can we do to help this where it doesn't doesn't happen again in the future? Anyways, thank you all so much. I definitely share if someone may have something, or if any comments, just constructive comments to kind of help. I really like, it's still not sitting well with me, and I just don't think this is okay. So thank you. And I just want to say that I'm not saying all this to get anyone in trouble. We're human. We all make mistakes. Lord knows I do. We can have a bad day and totally regret something we do. It's just part of being human. I just want change. Like, something needs to change.